Hey, all right there, people. Hope you're all healthy and safe and well. Um, we're a couple of weeks into this national lockdown part three. Um, it's going well in some respects. In other respects, we've still got the dickhead minority that seem to want to carry on like there's nothing wrong, and they're just making this drag on and on and on, and then moaning about the fact that it's dragging on and on and on. Um, so many stories in the last couple of days of dickheads just deciding that they don't need to abide by the same rules that the rest of us are. We have a wedding in North London in a school, a wedding reception, 400 people in a school. Thankfully, the police did get there. A lot of people managed to run away and avoid the fine, but apparently the organisers are going to get a 10 grand fine, and anyone they did manage to catch is going to get their standard fine. Sorry, I don't think that's enough. The organisers really, 10 grand I think isn't enough by any stretch of the imagination to organise an event that big, knowing what the hell's going on. And the fact that a lot of people got away. So my answer would be to that, the police will go to the organisers, i.e. the bride and groom, whoever organised the reception, and say, right, we want a complete list of everyone you invited to that wedding, and we will issue them all with fines. And if you're refusing to cooperate and give us the list of the people you invited, we will see who we've already dished out a fine to, and all the other fines are on you. You can pay it. And really fucking screw these bastards over. I'm fed up of like £200 fines being handed out to these people, and a lot of these people, it doesn't mean anything to them. So you've got to hit them really where it hurts, and really clobber them with fines. You know, I actually think people who organise events on that scale, I don't think a 10 grand fine quite makes it that serious enough to them. I know it's going to be really controversial to say this, and I know probably people will disagree with me. I say put them in prison. It's as simple as that. When you get last night, apparently a rave was shut down in some railway arches. 300 people there. The organisers again, 10 grand fine. No, put them in prison, because they are risking the lives of thousands of people. If you were drink driving, you go to prison. And it is a similar thing to drink driving. Your actions of you enjoying yourself could have a direct result in other people dying. Anyone caught at that rave are all going to get the statutory £200 fine. I don't think that's enough. You know what you're doing when you go there. I think these fines need to be upped. I think if you're a repeat offender, I think you need to spend some time in prison. Maybe say to them, right, well, you're going to need to quarantine, and rather than them quarantine at home, quarantine them in a holding pen. I know it sounds a bit kind of hard line, but I'm sure you, along with me, are fed up with this thing dragging on and on and on because of people's irresponsible attitudes. So now you've got to take the responsibility away from them because you can't trust them, and fucking clobber them. And the only way you can do that is not just with money, but clobber them by putting them in prison. Another guy caught driving 350 miles from his house in a big flash sports car, and his answer to the police when they pulled him over, I was going to get a kebab. What, you needed to drive 350 miles to get a fucking kebab? No. But the fact is, this guy, with a car that he's got, the petrol he would have had to put in that car, he can afford it, because it would have cost him a fortune to drive that far in the sports car that he had. So a £200 fine is going to mean fuck all to him. So you hit him where it hurts again. You say, no, your actions are in direct contravention of what everyone else is following. Put him in prison. Rather than fill the prisons up, some of these empty buildings that they've got running, turn them into holding pens and say, no, we're going to keep you people off the street until we think that you're responsible enough to be let out again. Because I'm fed up that my safety, your safety, my family's safety, my friends' safety and health is being put constantly at risk by irresponsible, fucking selfish dickheads. I'm fed up with it now. So Tapping them on the wrist and giving them a £200 fine ain't going to cut it anymore. People aren't going to do that. They're not going to really be that bothered by it. So you've got to hit them hard. The other thing I've seen, and I'm sure you've all seen it as well, is this whole let's pay people £500 so they'll self-isolate. If the fact of self-isolating means that you prevent other people more vulnerable than yourself catching this horrible virus, so the actual incentive you've got is it keeps you safe, it keeps the people around you safe, and everyone else around safe. If that's not a good enough incentive to sit your ass indoors for 10 days, what kind of fucking person are you then? A kind of person that's going to sit there and milk £500 for all it's worth. I know that some of this £500 is going to help some people that are working at the moment, and when they have to self-isolate, it will make up the shortfall in their wages. But again, it's this whole thing of soon as something happens in this pandemic, the first thing people shout out, I want money, I want money. Money doesn't solve everything. As it proves, we've thrown billions during this pandemic, and we're no further better off than we were at the beginning last March. In fact, we're in a worse position now, and we've thrown billions at it. It's not money that's the problem. It's fucking stupid people. This £500 thing, if they decide to go with it, we know that people are going to milk this for all it's worth. We've got companies that have milked furlough for all it's worth, and now we're going to get people that are going to milk this £500 to stay at home for all it's worth. Again, it just winds me up, because all this money that we keep asking for, well, not we, but the population asks for to help bury them out, get them out of problems, it's all got to be paid back at some point. You know, at the moment, we've borrowed so far £200 billion, and the year before the virus, we borrowed 30 billion. So we've already kind of gone well over what we've borrowed before. Now that's the key word there. We've borrowed this money. This money's got to be paid back. Now, who do you think is going to bear the brunt of paying this back? We're going to have services cuts. The people are going to moan after this is all done. Why aren't my bins emptied more often? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Why have we got less funding for this? Why have we got less funding for that? Because we've got greedy bastards that the only thing they're looking at through this whole pandemic is how much money can I make out of it. I should have prepared. I haven't bothered to prepare. Sit back, government, help me out, bail me out. We know we're going to have to resign ourselves to the fact that we're going to go through 15, 20 years of shit when this is all over, of kind of paying this money back and being in hard times. The likes of yourselves and me working, we're gonna get hit in the pocket with that. We're going to get higher tax because this money's got to be paid back. Now, I know it seems very selfish to have this attitude, but when you're a person, not just me, but anyone who's worked through this whole pandemic, hasn't had any time off, hasn't been furloughed, you've worked through it, the kick in the teeth you're going to get at the end of it all is that you're going to be worse off financially, because you're going to pay more tax to pay back all this money, where people sat back and went, we can't cope. We haven't prepared for an eventuality where we might not be able to work, so now we need money from the government. It does stick in my throat that I'm going to be worse off for years and years and years, and it's probably up to the day I retire, but because we're paying back money from people with greed and just having pound signs in their eyes, not willing to help themselves out, but want to keep getting financial handouts to help them out. I get pissed off arguing with people online about certain situations. I've had a couple of run-ins with people online to do with the school meals thing. Now, don't get me wrong, what Marcus Rashford done is fantastic. My argument, or my point, was when I was at school, if you have free school meals, it was when you were at school. When you weren't at school, when you were on half term, or when you were off for any other reasons, you got fed at home. When my kids were at school, we found ourselves in a position where we had to, make use of the free school meals. But we didn't get school meals given to us during the 6-week summer holiday or during half terms. We had to feed them at lunchtime. Now, what you got to remember is, I know there are a lot of people that, because of the pandemic, are finding it hard financially, but most of the people that are benefiting from this thing of school meals being paid for aren't financially badly off to the extent that they can't afford to feed their kids. They can afford to feed their kids, but if someone else can pay for them, why the fuck not? Um, it annoys me that the minute something tries to be done to help matters, the press have to jump all over it and condemn it, and then people send in these photos of supposed packages they were sent with food that was meant to last them a week and stuff like that. Now, no one ever checks that these people are genuine. They just upload this photo to Twitter and oh, it must be genuine. Yes, the company that the government sought to provide the school meals or provide the food seriously done the government over and asked for an amount of money to do this, and what they gave out was piss poor. I don't doubt that. What I'm saying is, sometimes you've got to look to yourself and think, what can I do to make my situation better if it's hard at the moment? Now, if you, and I know this is going to cause people to get pissed off, but it's just the way I see things. If you're a smoker, or if you're a heavy drinker at home and you think nothing of spending 10, 20 quid at a time on a packet of fags, or 10, 15 quid on a pack of cans or a bottle of spirits, and then you're going to turn around and then say, I can't afford to feed my kids. There's a decision you can make there. Smoke less, have more money left over to feed your kids. It's not always the government's job to dig people out of their problems all the time. They're not there to just kind of, right, I'm in a financial sticky situation. What's the government going to do to sort me out? Sometimes we've got to help each other out, and you've got to start at home, start sorting yourself out. But people don't do that all the way through this pandemic. The minute people have a slight bit of inconvenience, well, what are the government going to do with this, and how are they going to pay for this, and how are they going to pay for that? The fact is, they are. The furlough scheme that we've got in this country at the moment is probably one of the best in the world, but it's going to come at a cost, and people don't realise that. They just want more and more money all the time. People literally from day one of the lockdown from last year, from day one, people that were self-employed, well, that's it, my business is shot. We're one day into it, mate. Have you not put money aside to cover yourself, that when you weren't working or something may happen, like get an injury at work and you can't work? Do you not put money away to cover yourself for that? I've known people, and people in my family, that have been self-employed and run their own company, and you put money away to cover you the times when you're not working, or if something happens that you're unable to work. Now, if people haven't done that, you don't just then turn around to the government and go, well, you've now got to give me loads of money that I'm used to getting because I can't work at the moment. No, you should have made preparation to at least cover some of it. But no, everyone just goes on their merry way, don't prepare for anything. I mean, okay, we didn't know that this pandemic was going to happen, but you do prepare for anything. You could be in a trade, fall over, break your leg, you can't work for 6 weeks. You should have something as a backup to cover you for that when you don't work. Perhaps it's just me, perhaps I'm misreading these situations, perhaps I'm completely wrong, and you're sitting here shouting at the screen at me, telling me what an arsehole I am. Well, fair enough. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm just calling things as I see them. It's a very bad situation we find ourselves in at the moment. Not helped by people refusing to do as they were told. We're making big strides. The amount of people that have been vaccinated already, is well in excess of 5 million people. That's a huge amount of people in such a short space of time. But no, the press, it's not good enough. We're not doing enough people. We're not vaccinating enough people. We're not going quick enough. Fuck me. These are human beings that are doing this. You're not sending people to a factory that's doing mass vaccinations with loads of needles lined up on a machine, and 1,000 people walk in and all get done at the same time. These are individuals doing this. The army are helping out. But you're a human being. Human beings are doing this, and they can only do as much as they can do. And I think what we've done so far is amazing. But no, the press don't want to kind of pick up on that. Well, we need to be doing double this amount if we want to do this and if we want to do that. Then you get the press that hollered on and on and on and on and on about we need tighter restrictions on lockdown, and moaning about the fact we hadn't gone strict enough. And then this week they're all belly aching on after the briefings. How long's this going to go on for? When are we going to come out of it? Fuck's sake, you can't win. The government and Boris Johnson are in a no-win situation. Whatever they do, it's wrong. Whatever they do, it wasn't quick enough. Whatever they do, it doesn't cover everyone. I do get a bit pissed off with the opposition, especially Keir Starmer. He has very much to say and a lot to say about everything that's wrong, but doesn't come forward with anything of any note or anything new to help the situation, to kind of come forward and say, well, I've got an idea, why don't we try this? All he does is jump on a bandwagon. He sees what people are putting in the press, licks the arse of the press and says, well, I think we should do this. And I think, well, the papers have been saying that for the last month, so it's not your idea. And he's just very fond of jumping on it, like the Shadow Home Secretary and the Shadow Health Secretary. Oh, well, we think it's appalling what's been done. Do you really think you'd have done a better job? Let's be honest. Let's sit here now and be honest. Do you really think Keir Starmer and his government would have completely done this differently, and it would have been a whole kettle of fish, and we'd all be sitting here now carrying on like nothing was wrong? No fucking way. Any government that had to manage this pandemic would have made mistakes. Yep, some of the mistakes have been made or have cost lives, but what do you do when you're dealing with something that you've never ever dealt with before? Also, at the moment, it's not bad. It's it's not good enough that we're all kind of stuck indoors. We can't do anything. We can't go and meet people. We can't do this. We can't do that. The fucking vegans want to pipe up and tell us all to stop eating meat and stop doing this and stop doing that, and drink milk made from nuts and milk made from oats and not drink milk from cows, and tell us to stop everything because they're right and we're wrong. No, they're not. You've made a lifestyle choice, vegans. Whether I disagree with it or not, it's neither here nor there. It's your choice. But don't fucking lecture me telling me that I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, because millions of other people do what I do. We can't all be wrong, but you can't always be right. And that's what these vegans have got to understand. They've made a lifestyle choice, but it's not necessarily the right one. It's not that they're right and we're wrong. You get these fucking these arseholes full of self-importance posting things on Twitter with a thing saying, I'm a vegan, prove me wrong, eating meat is wrong, prove me wrong. I don't need to prove you wrong. I don't need to do anything, because I've made my choice and you've made your choice, and that's what needs to happen. But these self-important arseholes that literally within 30 seconds of meeting them want to blurt out that they're a vegan because they think it's some kind of moral crusade they're on, just fuck off, seriously. Dry January, I can get people doing that. The pubs aren't open, so it's a lot easier to kind of go without alcohol for a whole month. And to be honest, it's going to be enforced on us that, from what I read and heard in the news a couple of days ago, the earliest we can expect for pubs to be open as normal is probably May or June time. So it might not be dry January, it might be dry 6 months of 2021. And if people want to do these things, if people want to kick these things for a month because it's trendy and it's fun, and you can pat yourself on the back on Facebook, look at me, how great I am, I done Veganuary for January. Oh, well, fucking good for you. But it doesn't mean I'm wrong because I don't do it. And it doesn't mean you're right because you have done it. It's this whole culture we have at the moment. Everyone thinks they're right, and they think they've got the right to tell everyone else that they're wrong, and they've got the right to tell everyone else what they want them to do. Censorship. People piping up that this should be banned and that should be banned. Nothing should be banned. You've all got an on-off switch to turn something off. If you don't want to be a vegan, you just carry on eating meat. If you don't want to be eat meat, you become a vegan or you become a vegetarian. You've got those choices to switch off and on as much as you like. But I don't like people lecturing me, telling me that I'm wrong. I'm not wrong because other people are doing it. It's that you're made a decision that you think I should follow. No, it's just not happening. Plus, I do get pissed off that people always seem to hijack January and make January the month where we should do nothing. And people like me and other people like you that may watch this that happen to have their birthday in January get really pissed off that people are told, don't do anything in January, don't drink, don't eat, don't do this, don't do that, don't breathe. Do nothing in January. Well, fuck off. It's my birthday in January. It's bad enough this year that this year would have been it is a landmark birthday for me, and I couldn't celebrate it with anyone at all other than my close family. I couldn't have the plans that I wanted to do a couple of events and stuff like that. It's bad enough that I can't do that, but then I've got these self-important pricks telling me that I've got to give everything up because they've done it and it'd be good for me. No, it won't be good for me because I don't want to do it. You're asking me to do something I've really got no interest in doing. And so, yeah, these people need to jump off on their high horse. Apart from that, nothing else really to say, apart from what I always say at the end of these videos is, everyone, please just carry on doing what we're doing. We will get through this. We will meet up on the other side and we can have a big piss up when things are normal and we can tell vegans to fuck off as much as we like. Other than that, I will jump on here again pretty soon. But in the meantime, take care. Don't worry about the snow outside. If you've got snow, it's about that thick, and people are fucking littering Facebook with pictures thinking it looks like a Christmas postcard. It don't. It looks like someone's just walked outside and tipped icing sugar everywhere. So, fuck off with your photos on Facebook, making it look like it's some kind of Christmas scene. It's not. It's a little dusting that's probably going to be melted by 3 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. I shall love you and leave you. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And I'll see you very soon. Peace out, my lovelies.